What's happening, Shredder Nation? Happy Tuesday. Welcome to episode number 37 of Shred Your Body. I'm your host, Jesse James Jamnik, and tonight, I say this every single week, but I am honestly, truly excited every single week that I get a chance to come on here. 37 weeks. We are 2 months away from our 1 year official ER Shred launch, which is coming up in October. I cannot believe it's been 1 year. Thousands of lives have been changed. We flipped the script of nutrition kind of upside down from what everybody thinks is normal. And I absolutely love every last bit of it. I love going outside the box. I love being the abstract, the abnormal person. I have grown very, very comfortable with the concept of fitting out versus having to fit in, which absolutely destroyed so many years of my life. And I love every aspect of it. So tonight, every single Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, I come on, I pluck somebody from our ER Shred community. I want to love on them. I want to highlight them. They've worked hard. They've been dedicated. They raised their hand. They said yes to themselves, and they have absolutely taken back control of their health. And I want to share their journey. So hopefully somebody watching can tap into that, dive into it, get the courage from that other person and say, you know what? If they can do it, I can do it too, and welcome them into this amazing, unbelievable community that we call ER Shred Nation. And tonight, I'm really, really excited because 7 years ago, when I joined forces with our fulfillment company, Isogenics, these two, I didn't know them at this point in time, but I tapped into them. I listened to them. One of them has served on the advisory board, the product education board, and has done special calls for us for, I think it was an 8-year period of time. And I'm really, really excited to have them here. 2 doctors, the incredible team of the one and only Dr. Glenn and Ina Nozek. Welcome, guys, to Shred Your Body.
Thank you. It's so much fun to be here, Jesse. Hi, everyone.
Oh, I'm so excited that you guys are here. Everybody's popping on. Susan's on, Sean's on, Lori's on, Melanie's on, Heather's on. Hello to everybody out there. Listen, guys, if you have questions, I want to make this all about you guys. We want to bring the most value that we possibly can to you guys for people that are part of our community. So if there's any questions that you guys might have for these guys, here's your chance. Post them in. We can't promise that we'll get to all of them, but we'll definitely post some of them up there and get to them, as well as dive into some other information. But for those of you guys that don't know Drs Glenn and Ina, they are just absolutely amazing. I have a laundry list of all the ridiculous things that they've done for well over 25 years. I mean, we're talking over 40 years of combined knowledge sitting in front of us right now. And I am just so thankful that you guys can be here tonight, because I know we've tried for months now trying to figure out the day. And Glenn, I know you had a future, you have a commitment that you are there every Tuesday, and you're a committed guy, and you gave that up to be here with us. So seriously, honestly, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I truly, truly appreciate you guys for being here.
My pleasure.
We're so happy to be here, Jesse. Yeah. Thank you.
So listen, one of the things that I love about you guys is that you have this thing that you coined physicians on a mission, right? You understood years back that you guys ran a health practice. You were running this holistic, we'll call it, clinic. You had all sorts of things going on. You had your own health food store at one point in time. You were in the supplement industry. I mean, you guys were all about people's health, and you got introduced to the same company I got introduced to 7 years ago. And you realized that by stepping outside the box and not doing the traditional norm of what physicians get into, which is running their own practice, maybe opening 3 or 4, you're only one person or 2 people. There's only so much that you can do. And you guys saw this bigger picture of impacting global health. But what I love about you guys is that you always seem to go first And I just respect that so much from you guys, where before you just go out there and start promoting and talking and doing, you guys go first. And you've set that bar for you, for your team. I mean, the thousands of lives that you guys have impacted now over the years. I mean, it's just something truly, truly special. And I know I'm gushing on you guys, and you're sitting there and you're taking it. You're very humble people. But I want people to know just how freaking awesome you guys are. Like, really how much you guys give to helping other people drastically change their life. And that is something that I can get behind, because that's my mission. I think everybody deserves to feel amazing. Health is our greatest wealth. When I say that, what pops to your guys' mind? Kind of explain to me a little bit, I guess, how you guys got involved in this and what still drives your passion every single day to this day after all these years to still help people.
Do you want to tell me?
I know it's a big question. I know.
Gosh, well, first of all, we became health professionals because we are very, very passionate about assisting people on their journey to be the healthiest version of themselves. And just like you just said, Jesse, health is wealth. It's your greatest wealth. I feel like without your health, there's really nothing else that you can truly enjoy and live for, right? So it's so important. And we've always felt that way, which is why we became health professionals. And then when we 17 years ago found Isogenics and retired from practice, Glenn always talked about we created a global practice. We weren't just within the walls of our office. And so the mission became bigger and stronger. And as we all know, we're in a real serious health crisis. There are way too many people that are suffering, that are sick, that are not able to enjoy their lives. And so it's our mission. And I think so many of us that are on the call tonight, obviously yours as well, Jesse, we just want to do our best to share the goods and educate people and inspire people that health really needs to be the priority. And if it's not, they need to step into that, because without it, like I said, there's really nothing more that you can truly enjoy in life.
Yeah.
And I just want to add that, this reminds me, our background reminds me so much of what's going on in ER Shred. I remember getting frustrated. We had a lot of excitement. We had a family practice. People really rallied around what we were offering. And the problem I had was all they could do was refer somebody. And if the person was too far, then they really couldn't refer them to us. And I remember just feeling like, wow, there's just got to be, there's got to be a way to break through these walls.
Yeah.
And then the universe provided. The universe provided. And then we were able to do that. We were able to show people that they could really also continue to make a difference, not only in their own lives primarily, which is always start with yourself. Leaders go first. Everybody, we believe, has the potential to be a leader on some level. So, just step up, go first, and then you'll have the ability to share this with anybody.
Yeah.
And so it really mirrors exactly what's going on here.
Yeah. Glenn, when you just said that, I could see this like light of joy, like literally throughout your entire face. Like your energy just radiates through. You have this big smile. What does that mean to you to know that you can give that opportunity to other people now? Not only can you drastically impact their daily quality of life, because we know that if somebody really cracks down on their health, we know without a shadow of a doubt, I mean, there's no question that we can drastically alter their daily quality of life. I mean, drastically, right? But what does it mean to you to know that you have that ability to not only help with that, but be able to help with something so much bigger as well, and let other people share that gift. And once they receive that gift of health, be able to pass it on. Like, how do you describe that feeling? You know what I mean? Like, you've helped so many people do that now. What is that? I mean, why does that bring so much joy to you? Why did I just see all that energy?
Yeah, I mean, what else is, what are we on the planet for? I mean, I guess, like that's how it feels to me. It feels like, you're just finding better and better ways to be the best you. and we've kind of, when I say we, I know myself, we've been on this path of providing, avenues of health for the people that we're surrounded with, because that's our love and our passion. So people kind of know that that's what we share. And now, and having more tools in the tool belt to share and watch these people completely transform their lives. I mean, come on, what's better than that?
Yeah.
That's what it's about. It's like, I'm like a sucker. I'm just looking for like another transformation to have me bawling my eyes out, because it doesn't take much. I could tell you, it's like a good diaper commercial, and I'm on the floor. But, I just love seeing people.
That's true, by the way.
I just love seeing people radically change, for the better, and then they can't help but share it. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I'll tell you, man, it's I've become a much more emotional person over the course of the months. I'm like finding myself crying on a TV show now, and I'm like trying to like wipe my tears before Crystal can see me. You know what I mean? And every time I see these transformations, and I don't know, I mean, it's just like, whoa, you know what I mean? Like if people haven't seen this yet, you got to come to our group, ershredders.com. It's free. I mean, I think I forgot what we're pushing now, like 22.8 thousand. It's growing by like 500 or so every 30 days. I mean, it's just crazy to think back. Like last October, Sean calls me up. He's like, "Hey, dude, I got this crazy idea." He's like, "Just hear me out." And I was like, "Okay." And he tells this to me. We're gonna eliminate. We're gonna do an elimination diet. We're gonna get everybody to eat grass-fed beef and butter, and it's drastically changed mine and Crystal's life. And I was like, "Whoa," And I'm like listening to him because I love this guy. I trust him so much. And I hear this, and I'm just like, "Whoa." And I needed a day to flip through it, right? Tell me what you guys and then from there, obviously, it's just been nuts, right? Like it's just exploded. Like we can't even keep up with it. When you guys first heard of the ER Shred, I want to kind of dive into this a little bit, and then see if at the end we can kind of share some tips that you guys have learned over the course of the years and watch people go through, that we can hopefully shorten some journeys for people. I think that's the beautiful thing, is that we've all struggled for so many years and have helped so many people now, that if people can take this advice, we can shorten that time for them. I think that's a beautiful part of this giving forward. But for you guys, Ina, you're a clinical nutritionist. You've studied nutrition and been, dealing with stubborn weight loss for 24 plus years. Glenn, I know you have, your specialty was, I believe, in learning, I can't think of it. Like, you always talk about the addiction.
Wow. Do you think?
Well, I've done a bunch of different things.
Yeah, we've done.
I know.
It's probably the allergies.
Allergies, right? Allergies and food, and how people go after their addictions. You guys, like, I'm sure, like me, you're always looking at the new thing coming out. You're always reading the new science. You're always like, science is always changing. And I can imagine your minds are always like, ooh, like a little dog seeing a squirrel, like I am, right? So we get all this information and we try all these things over the years and we're doing them and we get to success. When you guys first heard of the ER Shred, I know, Glenn, you did the ER Shred in the beginning. Kind of, where were you at that point in time? What was going on? And then what was your first impression when you heard the concept of the ER Shred? And I kind of want to hear that from both of you, because I know there's still people out there stuck. They're like, what are these crazy people doing? This can't be healthy. Can you kind of like shed some light on where you were, what you thought, and then what ultimately made you say, let's go?
So I'd love to answer that, because it's been 17 going on 18 years for us that we've been involved with Isogenics. And what we fell in love with when we first got started was a 9-day cleanse. Mm-hmm. And then through the years, there's been a lot of evolution, and I'm going to say a lot of people were doing different versions and bastardizing certain things, just kind of making up their own rules. And we've always been kind of old school,
like purists,
almost like, the John Anderson way, right?
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden we kept hearing about ER Shred. We had no idea that it was Sean and Crystal. We didn't know anything other than ER Shred. And honestly, I'm just being totally honest, when I first heard it, I was rolling my eyes like, oh, here we go again. Here we go again. It's just another way of, whatever.
Yeah.
So I had a little bit of an attitude, and then we heard it was Sean Crystal, and we love the Escobars. We've always had a ton of respect and admiration, love the family. Tony and Randy, I mean, they were some of the first people that we met and connected with, and just love them. And again, have a lot of respect for them. So all of a sudden, the attitude shifts a little bit because it's the trust factor, of course, and the credibility and all that. And at the time, we were open to at least try it, because we'll never recommend something that we don't experience ourselves. Did it that always, right? And so we're like, you know what? Let's at least look into it, understand what it's about, and let's give it a shot. Now, simultaneously, and many of you that are watching know Laura Hernandez. She's on our team. And Laura was really struggling with some health challenges, and all of a sudden she was having trouble getting back to where she had once gotten to with her health and with her weight and her body composition, whatever. And she was feeling a little uncomfortable about it. And no matter what she was doing, wasn't really working well. So this is going on simultaneously. And then all of a sudden she sends me her 11-day before and after. And I was blown away. We were just about to start. And I was like, holy crap, this is amazing. I couldn't believe that was, and we just got so pumped up. So we did it. Now, I don't eat meat. Okay. Now I just want to say that I'm not saying eating meat is bad. I really believe that we have to eat for our own body and what's intuitively right for us and all of that. So I just want to clear that I'm not saying, obviously, I'm here. I support the Shred. I have people that do the program. So, but I wanted to experience it. So I did it with wild salmon and eggs, and just I don't eat chicken. I don't eat meat. Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess you can consider I'm a pescatarian if you want to label it, right? So I did it my way, but still followed everything else to the T, and Glenn did it with everything that most people do. And it was amazing. And Glenn could share a little bit more, but just to kind of wrap up, and it's been a year. So this was November, actually. You guys started October. We did it in November. And it has been, in all these years, the most significant long-term sustainable shift for Glenn.
Wow.
And I'll just tell you a couple of things. So I've been gluten-free for many years. I have a lot of food sensitivities. I also have a lot of discipline, and I'm kind of an anomaly in the world of my rules that I don't break and nothing will tempt me kind of a thing. And most people don't have that kind of, I don't know if you want to call it willpower, which is whatever, discipline, whatever you want to call it. And Glenn certainly doesn't. But he's had an issue that created a lot of inflammation. And I've been saying to him for years, honey, why don't you just stop eating gluten? Just try it. If nothing else, overall, he ate well, but we'd go to dinner, they put the bread basket on the table, and there he goes, right? So, and then he'd say, okay, I'll try it. And then, a day later, he's back eating gluten. So I just said, you know what? I'm not going to be that nag.
Yeah.
This is your body. It's your health, whatever. Right. So I just dropped it after a while. And here we are. He does the Shred. Voluntary. He hasn't had a stitch of gluten since November.
Yeah.
On top of that, he always wanted, even a cleaner version of some kind of ice cream at night, like Halo Top, or whatever, right? A little cleaner. And nothing. His sugar cravings, his desire for the, all of those inflammatory type starchy carbs that most of us are not doing so well with. Just it like stopped.
Unbelievable.
It is. It's really unbelievable. And he's down 30 pounds, and usually he would have, packed it back already, right?
Oh,
I mean, just being honest, and it's amazing. Amazing.
Wow.
So really cool. And I've seen with so many people that I've introduced to it, and I've done 3 shreds, but I do it
your way. Yeah.
And it's still fantastic.
And I think really what hit me, Jesse, was at the time, spending 17 years introducing people to a program, to help, both burn fat, detoxify their body, and so on. But it was missing, especially you talked about my background with the allergy work, which really had to do with intolerance.
Yep.
Most of them were food-based, food and nutrient-based. That was really the whole premise behind this whole technique. So I was fascinated by the idea of eliminating always, because that makes sense. It's always like great when you can clean the slate and let people see what's happening. So I like that part. But to be honest with you, the most important part was being able to go up to any guy I knew and not have to go, you're going to be on this 400 to 600 calorie meal. You're doing a shake in the morning, this little meal. Because a lot of these guys, you're just hearing those numbers. For some reason, they're like, I could do that. Like, I could eat that in my hand, what are you talking about? It was like we could like eat steak to grass-fed steak to our heart's content. And, and what I did find is we all have big eyes, and then as time goes on, you simply don't require that kind of consumption of that amount. That's what's fascinating too, But the idea of just not that satiation aspect to it was so key for me and other people that I think have various forms of, like, whether you call it food addiction or just like less than perfect relationship with their eating habits,
Yeah. Unbelievable. I mean, I don't even know if we should keep going with the call.
Right.
Well, I just want to say that
I feel like you guys just like summed up. I mean, what else do we need to know? I mean, this is over 40 years of experience going, wow, I can't believe it. I've stopped after 17 years. We know the science. We know the research. We know what food does to us and how powerful it is, which is what we have to teach other people. And yet we're still in this position. But unbelievable. Thank you guys for sharing that. What were you going to say, Ina? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I just want to say that there's so many brilliant things about the ER shred in and of itself. Like, it really is just put together in such a way that, as far as reducing inflammation in the body and rebalancing the body and, allowing us to have a clearer idea of what foods we are tolerant to, after a shred.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I just want people to understand is, sugar is, very poisonous. It's very inflammatory. It robs our nutrients. It's an anti-nutrient. It affects our immune system in a very negative way. There's so many. Sugar is really a bad boy, but a lot of people think sugar is sweet. And when people understand that bread is sugar and pasta is sugar and rice is sugar and potatoes is sugar, and it doesn't mean we can't have any of that. It's just there's so much overconsumption. Mm-hmm. And so when we can really do this brilliant system and really feel the difference, it's so powerful when people can actually feel such a drastic difference in their health and well-being in 11 days. And the shift has been just a beautiful thing. So thank you to Sean and Crystal and all of you for just creating this culture and carrying the word out so far.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Well, I think it's thank you to you too. I mean, everybody always goes, "Oh, Sean, Crystal started, and Jesse followed," and we're the three of us are always like, "No. Like, you cannot build what we have today with any one person. It is absolutely impossible. It's all of us collectively together, bringing our talent. I mean, you guys have your specialties. I got mine. Sean's got his. Crystal's got hers. Susan's got hers. I mean, it's such a beautiful culmination, right, of this like big mixing pot. I mean, it's one of my favorite things. I mean, when we say we have our own arms open for anyone who's ready to just raise their hand and say yes to themselves, we got you. like we got you. And that's the most beautiful thing. So thank you to you guys too, because you've been such an important role in your, just all of your credentials and in your backing, to say this and sit there with your shred shirts on and talk about your own personal stories, and to know that, you guys were part of something for 17 years. And that's a beautiful company. And we still take so much advantage of that because we would be foolish not to. I mean, I searched for 16 years at that point in time for something that clean. And then it took another 7 years for this to kind of come about. It's just the beautiful thing of this world, right? Like everything takes time and it culminates, and it's just the right timing of all of this, especially at a time where, we had this crazy thing going on in the world. And people were sitting at home and they were even less active than normal. And they ate even more than normal. And I mean, people were hurting more so than what they are. Mental illness has gone on the rise. So much has taken place. And I know there's a direct connection between our mind and our gut. And if we have a dirty gut, we have a dirty mind, and that all plays together. And I know people, have you guys heard people, even yourself, maybe Glenn, if you've noticed from taking out the gluten and stuff, have you noticed the mental shift at all? And have you guys noticed with other people that you're coaching through your practice or your teachings or your trainings, have you noticed that is a big piece? Because I'm noticing that with quite a bit of people.
It's huge. It's huge, Jesse.
Yeah.
And, quite honestly, that was my shift 17 years ago personally. Like we saw great changes. We did a little clinical trial in our practice and across the board had amazing results. But for me personally, my energy and my well-being were so significantly changed by back then, which was again, the 9-day cleanse. Now we didn't have isodolites and snack bites. And I'm not saying anything bad about those products, but through the years, it got really unlike what it originally was.
Yeah.
That was my shift then. My mental and emotional energy was so transformed by isogenics. I think that's one of the reasons that we got so excited, because we both felt so good and we saw it. It was duplicatable. We saw it in our practice and we were excited and we shared it. And this kind of brought us back to that, but even more so because it's 17 years. There's more sickness. There's more inflammation. There's more gut issues. There's more, all of it now.
Yeah.
And there's more of a need for this.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally agree. We'll just give everybody a second to process. We don't want to overload too fast. You know what I mean? Like I want people to grasp it. You know what I mean? So let me ask you this, Ina, and Glenn too. I know from, doing this for a long time, along with you guys coaching, what do you guys find? You say there's something special with the ER shred. For me, I kind of have this one thing that pops to mind. I want to see, I think you guys are going to be on the same page. What do you notice that the average person typically fails on when they come to you guys with, I need a diet, I need to lose weight? What's always the thing that's holding them back, and what makes something like the ER shred so doable for the person that's been struggling for 8 years or 10 years, or Glenn, like you said, for however many years? Like, what's that difference? Like, what do we got? What do you guys think the ER shred has that maybe other programs missed on or didn't quite get full circle? If there's something that stands out at all to you.
I honestly think there's a lot of things, Jesse. I think the support in the community really makes a giant difference.
Yep.
And we've always had a lot of that, but I think this community, I can add somebody to the ER Shred group and know that they're taken care of. Yes, I'm going to check in. I'm still always
Right.
there for my people and everyone that wants or needs me to support them. But it's so nice that somebody asks a question and 10, 12, 20, 30 comments, and there's so much love,
Yeah.
and love, gosh, that's what it's about.
Yeah.
So it's that, but it's also the elimination part. It's
Yep.
getting really in touch. It's that balance. It's the satiation, like Glenn said, like people not feeling so hungry and deprived, because, you know, that's always a deal breaker.
Yeah.
You know, people get hungry, they're done.
Yep.
You know, so it's just like everything put together. The incubation of the shakes, brilliant. You know, we were doing that before ER Shred.
Yep.
It's like the whole process just really goes together. So I'm not sure what answer you were looking for, Jesse.
There's no right answer.
Yeah, but I don't know if there was something I missed that you wanted to bring out. But I think it's a lot of different things that kind of add up to this beautiful total package.
Absolutely. You know, when somebody comes, like you said, and they're looking for a program, and we're like, you know, here's such a great baseline.
Yeah.
That feels like an easy place to start anybody. And then the beauty of it is, because we're putting such high power nutrition into these people's bodies and taking away all these culprits that cloud the results of those good foods. Because people eat the good foods, but if they're eating them along with the bad foods, they simply can't even tell that they're getting any of it. And sometimes they don't get it.
Yeah.
Because of that. So taking that away, they light up. Our classic come alive, you know, like that's a big deal. That's when you can start having new conversations with people. Yeah. You know, when they feel that way, now you can have a conversation that you couldn't have had with them before, because they didn't feel like that before.
Right.
Some say, and you've heard it, we've all heard it, we've heard it on these same calls. It's like, I didn't even know I could feel like this. I didn't even know, like, I thought I was feeling okay. Yeah. You know, that kind of thing.
You know, and even for years before Isogenics in our clinical practice, we would do a lot of, as a nutritionist, a lot of elimination diets and, you know, different cleansing programs and detox kind of things. But a lot of them just have people feel horrible. Yeah. Right? And so that's why, again, there's so much more to this, and to bring that baseline feeling of, wow, like I didn't know I could feel that way. And I didn't know that just by removing these things, people get the awareness that they need for lasting change.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think the simplicity of this, I mean, I know everything that I've ever tried to put somebody through. You know, Ina, you talked about this like hardcore, streamlined, blinders up dedication. For whatever reason, when it comes to working out and nutrition, I got it down pat. Like I'm like, nothing can get in my way. Vacation, nothing. Like, it doesn't matter to me. Like, I am in my zone because I feel so euphoric every day. Like, every time you see me 4:30 in the morning, 10 o'clock at night, like, this is me. Like, you're going to see me like this. You know what I mean? Like, I'm wired, ready to go at all times. But I love the simplicity, because I feel bad when I think back, but I can't, because it's all that I knew. It was so complicated for people. Like, I look back and I'm like, man, no wonder why you ran away from me. And no wonder why you like didn't answer my phone call anymore. And, you know, I know how I felt, and I'm telling you to suck it up. And I'm like, you know, this is different. I'm going to tell you to suck it up, because this is so darn easy, and we're satiating you, and we're dumping so much quality nutrition in you. And Glenn, I think you hit it on the head, where if we look at nutrition, like, you know, we take our company, for instance, our fulfillment company, Isogenics, that we're partnering with from the other side, you know, partnering with the ER Shred. And I love them. Every single thing that they have. I mean, people just don't understand. I mean, you guys ran a store. Can we, I don't want to spend too much time, but can you guys we partner with them for a reason. Because not the informed sport, informed choice certification, the product testing, the money. What does it mean, Ina, when a company gives up first right of refusal when it comes to double-blind placebo testing? And what does it mean when, you know, do all companies get raw material into their warehouse and then actually microbial test and heavy metals? Like, talk about the quality of why this pairs so beautifully with something like the elimination and the cleanse product and the shred product of the ER Shred.
You know, it all comes down to integrity.
Yes.
And not greed. And, you know, Glenn and I, you know, my parents owned health food stores way before Isogenics. We had gone to certain companies, like manufacturing plants with different supplements, places that would have this brand of vitamin C and this brand of vitamin C, and you can see the difference with what they're adding to this one versus that one. And, you know, you kind of leave there going like, ew, like, oh my God, you know, like you don't know until you know.
Right.
And Isogenics, the integrity, the purity, when they say no compromise, they mean no compromise.
Yeah.
And it is a very well trusted company in terms of products and just, yeah, like other companies, they're not going to spend the money. They're not going to because
right.
It's all about profit. And Isogenics, although yes, they're about profit, obviously, but that's not their main driving force.
Right.
So it's just unheard of, quite honestly. I mean, there are other great companies, don't get us wrong.
For sure.
Yeah.
But we have something really special.
I think overall, I've been, you know, through bodybuilding and getting sponsored and all that stuff over the years, I got to see what you saw. Disgusting, first of all. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, what have I just been putting in my body? Trying to be the healthiest guy possible for all these years. That was number one. Number two, I've yet to find something that's actually full circle with everything. Maybe there's like one hit or two hits of a product, and then they kind of diminish, right? They get the people, they suck them in, and then bang, they get them. Every single thing, and I don't use every single thing. I think there's places for each individual thing, and certain people need certain things. But everything that I see across the board with the ingredients, the quality, and everything else is just, I've personally never seen it. And I've kind of dove around like you guys into a lot of things and got to see a lot of different things for a lot of different years now. And I just think people need to know that we're using this stuff not just because we want to be part of the shake gang or we think cleansing's cool. Like, we've been doing this crap for almost 20 years now. You know what I mean? And nothing is stopping it. It's just getting better and better and better. You know what I mean? But speaking of that, let's talk about this for a second. People come into this and we're so programmed, we're so brainwashed by media, right? It's like, we got to do this, we got to have this, we got to eat this, we need that. Like, I think we're in this like overload of healthy crisis. And what I mean by that is, do you guys feel, I think there's too much healthy. Do you guys think that there's a such thing as too much healthy? Glenn, you're shaking your head yes. Like, what's your feeling on that? Because I think a lot of people come into something like, you know, partner with Isogenics, and now they have this like entire holistic health food store, and they're just like, but the problem is their blood sugars are still jacked up. You know what I mean? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, it reminds me of any classic way of eating. I don't care whether you're a vegetarian, whatever you might be, you can do it wrong. You can overdo it. You know, it's like, it's almost a universal law. Too much of anything, you know, like in a single amount, it's like, it's not going to work for you. And it reminds me of that, because that's what can happen. It's a beautiful thing on a business level, perhaps, right? To have a store that has more variety. And I love that, because we get to partner with this fulfillment company and we can shop out of our own stores. So we all become partners. That way and that's the beauty of it too. It's like nobody's better than anybody. It's like we're handing the whole thing over to each person. They get the whole deal. You get the store, you get the plan, and you get everything. So unlike the whole giant store to just get lost in, we start by having a roadmap for people to go on this program, really get their, the initial thing together, which is them, which is their own health and their own well-being. And then they can look and see what else in their life might be, and from our fulfillment company might be the right choices for them.
Yeah.
I think people really need to tap in and tune in to what their body needs, right? Sure. So, and I think there's so much confusion out there, and it is overwhelming. It's so overwhelming. You can't even look at a health magazine or turn on, you can watch 2 documentaries that are completely, the opinions are completely opposed. And you're like, keto, paleo, grass-fed beef. Oh, no, plant-based, vegan, and people can really spin on what do I do? Like, what do I do? I don't even know, right? People are so confused. And so to your point, Jesse, when we have like all these products and people just want to take all these products, well, no, not everyone's going to be, not every product is necessarily going to be right. A lot of them probably won't be, but you have to really, and I think that's another beauty of the ER Shred is that elimination, that reset to really get in touch, especially at that point where you can say like, oh, is this broccoli that I've been eating, is it really feel good in my body? People are like, oh, broccoli's healthy. Well, it typically is a healthier food to put in our body, but maybe it's not healthy for you. Yeah. So it's great when people can really identify that.
And say, yeah, I'm not eating that now. And boy, I continue to feel good. And so, a lot of times the rules just don't always apply to each individual person. And that's the beauty of this is we're teaching people right in the process of doing the program, how to look for things that don't make them feel good so that they can eliminate those, in the future.
And I think that's one of the most beautiful things, right? That's where I always talk about, it puts the person back in the driver's seat. It gives them back control. And I think you guys just summed up really what I mean by that. You know what I mean? Because I think so many people don't get it still because they're still so confused by, well, my Instagram celebrity said, this and she's looks like this. And I'm like, oh, let's dive in a little bit and kind of peel back those pages of what the square world is showing you. You know what I mean? And to give people back that power, I think that's been one of the most beautiful things to watch. We already agreed. We're on the same page of watching people develop and thrive in life. I don't know about you guys, but that lights my heart on fire when somebody's like Heidi, for instance, right? Like you guys, I know you've worked with Heidi. She says, I learned how to be brave because of this group. Like, whoa, like you can let that fly over your head. But if you understand how that drastically altered that woman's life, like, oh my God, I have goosebumps, like seriously goosebumps.
He's unrecognizable. Yep.
It's unbelievable. And that's just one of thousands of examples, So we know the elimination, we hit on that. It's the creme de la creme, right? When somebody comes in, Ina, clinical nutritionist, boom. Okay, you don't even know what's going on. We need an elimination protocol. We got to get you back to those basics. Typically, we already know that we put them through not a good feeling, right? With this way, for some, we're stripping carbs, we're stripping gluten, we're stripping sugar. Typically, we see people go through massive withdrawals. I mean, and some people are still going to have that. Depending upon how toxic they are, they're still going to experience some of that. So I don't want to shy away and say, oh, you're going to feel, rainbows right away. But most people seem to be very filled, very satiated, very, it's like it's taken away all those negatives, right? And then we partner that elimination with a cellular fast. And I know you're a big proponent of this. I remember reading your stuff in the beginning. Most people, they're like, well, my liver does that for me, Jesse. It cleanses me. Can you touch on that real quick on why every single person, even elite athletes, somebody that maybe goes and runs 100 miles up and down mountains, why do we still need to cleanse? Why is it still so important? And how does it piece into the ER Shred so beautifully, do you think?
So I always, educate people on our world, unfortunately, is so toxic. And it just gets progressively worse. It's scary, when you really look into it, right? And we're all born with this brilliant, innate detoxification system. We're all born that way. So our bodies are designed to detoxify, whatever. It's the heavy metals and the parasites and the this and the that, whatever. We are not supposed to live in such a toxic world. That's not how we were designed, for one. Our gut health is so compromised, which is, very connected to our immune system and detox. So we need the support of a system, of a nutritional cleansing system, product, certain botanicals, certain minerals that support that process. And that's really what our cleanse has always done.
Yeah.
And that's, like I said, that's what we fell in love with 17 plus years ago.
Yeah.
Because I was doing all kinds of cleansing, juicing, all kinds of stuff in my practice, all kinds of detox and cleansing. And Isogenics cleanse was like mind-blowing. It just blew it all away because it was cleansing and replenishing simultaneously. It really is an amazing formulation, Cleanse for Life.
Yeah.
The fact that it's part of, this protocol, it's just, everything fits in together so beautifully. So in answer to your question, we're all toxic. Every single one. If you're living on this planet, if you're a human being living on this planet, you have to support that process. It's not going to be enough that it works innately and you don't have to cleanse because you already have a detox system built in. No, it doesn't work that way anymore.
Don't we wish, right? Don't we wish? Maybe if it was like 200 years ago, before the pesticides, the herbicides, the deforestation, the not caring about plastics, the polluting the ocean, the polluting the land, the no more topsoil. Do you want me to keep going on?
No,
On and on and on. Why? We're in the place that we're at and why we're so toxic. Why do you guys think, what's the holdup with people? What have you guys found through your studies and through research of working with people? Why do you think people get so stuck on these ideas and don't open up right away to maybe like elimination or cleansing or, what do we get stuck on? Like, where do you think it comes from? Well, maybe I guess that's media and stuff, right? Like people are always stuck where it's like, well, I don't need that because I can do this, or I want to eat real food and not drink a shake. Like what is it that you see that people get stuck on the most when it comes to being able to transform their body? Is that a good question? Does that make sense?
I think that people don't want to be uncomfortable. They don't want to give up things that they're, let's say, hooked on, or things that, comfort them.
They perceive that
mentally, emotionally, there's a lot of people that are just very, very sad. They're unhappy in their lives. They use food and alcohol and, whatever they use to, temporarily comfort them. And to give it up is more painful initially. It's that discomfort that they don't want to confront. So I think some of it is that. Some of it is just they're so confused, like they don't know who to believe. They don't know what's right, so then they do nothing.
Yeah.
They're influenced by, yes, the media, big time, the people they hang out with.
Whatever influencers they follow,
So it's a lot, but I think, people have to be committed to and believe that they can be healthy. Because I think that's the other thing. Like, we believe that every single person, wherever they are on their health journey, the body is brilliant. The innate intelligence of our body is so brilliant that anyone can heal from where they're at. Anyone can rebalance and rebuild and, become a healthy person on all levels. But so many people don't believe that. They think they're done. They got this diagnosis. They're on these medications. They feel like crap. They're always going to feel that way, blah, blah, blah. And the belief is really not there, unfortunately. And that, I think, is part of our job as our community, as ER Shredders, is to really pour that belief into people, knowing that they can heal. They can be well.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. I think that's one of the, if people need a reason to pick up the phone and share the ER shred with somebody, it's what Dr. Ina just shared with you. You know what I mean? Like, people need the belief, and they need to hear from us, from the people who went first, who've experienced it. I mean, listen, back in October, call us crazy. Coming into this October, a year later, proof of concept, thousands of lives changed, from the people in their 80s down to children. I mean, I think you're crazy for not saying yes and at least giving yourself 11 days at this point. So don't call me crazy anymore. I'm calling you crazy, right? I think that's great, but that's why we need to share. You know what I mean? So many people need to share, and people are scared to share, just like they're scared to get healthy for those reasons. So working on that mental stuff and that self-belief is absolutely amazing. I've been watching the Olympics. I don't know if you guys have, but it's crazy. But, the guy who just won the gold medal in synchronized diving, the team from Britain who beat the Chinese that were supposedly unbeatable. He literally said, he goes, we did nothing but visualize ourselves winning the gold medal for the 7 months prior. Nothing at all. We visualized it. We talked about it. We breathed it. We ate it. Like nobody was supposed to beat the Chinese, but yet they did it. And that shows you. And he was like, I wish everybody would understand the power of visualization and self-belief. And if you don't have it, that's where our group comes into play. Let us be that support for you. Let us be that anchor. Let us be that stage that you need to sit on, that ladder you need to step on, like whatever it is that you need from us. Let us be there. Just have that courage to say yes, and then you can work on the rest of that stuff kind of as you guys, as you come in. So that's pretty awesome too. I think a cool thing is you guys touched on this a little bit, and we touched on it with the products, and I kind of want to sum it up for people because I think when people come into something like this, they go, oh, an 11-day program, like that's all I got to do, and boom, I'm magically fixed. Or they think that when they come into this, because we're stripping away everything, they can't ever have other foods again. Well, I just had 6 Coronas on my beach vacation, and I definitely had ice cream with a little bit of Reese's topping with my daughter and my nieces and my nephew. Like Uncle Jesse's the fun guy, you know what I mean? Like I had to have fun, but I was still running and I was still exercising and I was still catching sunrise every morning at the beach because I was up at 4:30 a.m. Like, I think with this, what do people got to understand, either of you, when it comes to ultimate health? Like I'm at this point in my life now after all these years, right? Ups, downs, lefts, rights, circles. People got to come in, I think, and realize that the ER Shred's a good stepping stone, right? Would you guys agree with this? It's a good platform, but it doesn't always have to just stay that way. And Ina, you talked about this, like you do it your way. And that's another good point that I want to bring up too, is that's perfectly okay. Like, I know you were trying to say, I don't eat meat, but I'm like, okay, no problem. Like you still, like if people understood the power of elimination and cleansing and not putting in the high toxic foods and the high inflammatory foods, like that's a lot of power too, right? Like we chose meat because it's usually not an allergy to people. And there's so much good bioavailable nutrition from it. I think it's just kind of had its wrong name and it's very satiating, right? And like you said, Glenn, a lot of people look at that and they go, oh, it's not a diet. And I need them to have that understanding, right? But for you guys, like talk to me about everyday life after the shred. You said you've done 3. How have you incorporated that into life? I always see you guys on an airplane traveling somewhere. So I know you're living life and you're having fun and you're looking at houses. And do you guys got your house, right? In Florida, right? Is that right?
We're building. We're building.
Okay, good. You found land, you're building. That's going to be a project. But talk about what can somebody expect? That maybe they're brand new. This is Shred 1. What can they expect long term? What should they get in their mind on how to really succeed for that bigger picture of lifelong versus just short term?
Yep. So let me just say this, a lot of people, especially chronic dieters and people that have been struggling for many, many years with their weight, there's so much judgment on food, good foods, bad foods. So it's really just more cause and effect, right? It's like, how does a food make you feel? What kind of an effect does it have? And we have to be honest with ourselves, right? And then we get to choose. So I think there could be, always foods and sometimes foods, right? So that way there's the flexibility of, we don't need to be so disciplined all the time. Like we love going out to eat. We really do. I love my wine. Most people know that. Like that's my vice. I'd rather have, a couple glasses of red wine than any dessert under the sun. Like I'm not interested in that, but so we all have our little, thing that we love. So for us, and I'm not going to say for us, because I, like I said earlier, I'm like an anomaly. But for most people, I'd say, depending on what your goals are, maybe, the 80-20 or the 90-10 rule, where most of the time you're eating similar to this way, but maybe incorporating the vegetables and the avocado and the coconut oil and the olive oil and some of the things that we eliminate right away. But if they sit well in your body and they feel good and the effect feels good, cool. If brown rice and potatoes, or whatever foods, beans, whatever it is, foods that you want to incorporate, you feel like they're healthy foods for your body, cool. And then there's the, foods that some would consider the bad foods, but maybe the ones that affect you in a negative way, the sometimes foods, like, whether it's, the cake or the donuts or the, whatever, sometimes I'm a little sometimes I'll call it garbage, right? But but that some of that, really makes people feel good and they're happy. And so again, it's just finding that balance where 80 to 90% of the time we're going to make good decisions because we honor and respect our body, or at least that's the goal, right? We don't want to disrespect ourselves. If we know it's going to make us feel horrible, what's the point? Is it worth it? That's I think, when people start to get more tuned in on this journey, they'll become more aware of that. And again, it's that self-love and self-trust that really is part of the equation of making the right choices that feel good so that the effect is good. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And then I would say, just the 50,000 foot view of that whole thing is, we go through our initial shred, we get the feeling, we know what feeling good is again, we start to incorporate foods, and then you just really got to tune in and see not only how you feel, how is it reacting to your body? How are you doing? Look, nobody has to be perfect. The whole idea is if this can be a lifestyle, and it should be, and it is for me, then that's the key. We got to get off of programs that we kind of get on and off of, as opposed to just kind of reeling in. It's almost like, driving off, going off-roading versus, staying on the road. So you can do a little off-roading sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you got to know when it's time to bring the gear in and clean it up again,
Yeah.
And so that's what that's what I'm doing. Like for me, it was so profound in its ability to maintain my weight at a level that I had such a hard time getting to in the past. It would be so hard to touch it, and then I could never whatever I was doing wasn't keeping me there at all.
Yeah.
And now I'm there almost literally effortlessly. And I'm easily able to tell every once in a while I'll step on a scale, ooh, pound difference here or there. It's so minimal that it's still cracking me up. I still shocked that it's so minimal. But again, we had her brother's party for her brother. We've had a lot of things, and while for the most part I don't want to mess it up, so I'm pretty good. Like my favorite food in the world is pizza. It really is, and I haven't had it in a year. I haven't had it since we started, and it's not screaming at me.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe it's not my favorite anymore. It's and I think I would enjoy it if I had it, and I probably will give in at some point soon. I will, but meanwhile, it's not nagging me the way it used to be. It's like if you were waving that around, then I'm gonna have the piece. I could be full and I would have had the piece. You know what I mean? It was kind of like that. So I got really clean on what was available. So long term, the idea is to check in and realize how good you felt, so you don't lose the feeling, because that's what happens so often. I really think that's the key. If you can keep some degree of that feeling, you'll only veer off to an extent. And that's the same thing. You'll have other things in your life, Jesse, that are helping to keep it on track, whether it's extra exercise, after doing, just knowing that you got to burn some of that off, maybe, if you won't feel so good if you don't. Things like that. You just got to tune in, and you'll learn how to adapt. And that's the beauty of this whole empowerment thing is you start to, it starts out as a program that was put in front of you, ultimately becomes a program that you start to kind of create. You create the end product of it.
Yeah.
It's individual for whatever works.
Man, you guys are so on the same page in my brain. I truly hope that everybody gets to this beautiful point, because it's so freeing. It's so freeing to go through life. And I've watched people, they're scared of food. I watch them turn to alcohol. They get in a little fight and they're drowning their pains. And I'm just I'm ready to cleanse. You know why I want to cleanse? Not because of my vacation. I want to cleanse because I just stripped a pool house of wallpaper for a NASCAR legend, and I sucked in so much wallpaper solution that I need to honor my body and cleanse. Like, I need people to think like that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not doing it because I had a little bit of ice cream, for crying out loud. Like, I'm at a point now where my body's like, whatever, it just burns that off. And people just, don't rush that. I wanted to ask you guys that, to give people that bigger view. Like you said, Glenn, that 50,000 mile view. I want people to know that there's not an end point, because I don't think health ever stops. Like, you've got to constantly be engaging and tuning in, but there is that end point in that, and I don't know if this is going to take you 6 months, or it's going to take you a year, or it's going to take you 2 years. It depends how long you've been trashing yourself, really, right? And really where you got to get to. But whatever it takes, it's worth it. I just want you to know that. Whatever time it takes, your health is your wealth. We've already preached that, right? It's worth it. And to get to that point of freedom is what I hope everybody gets to experience with the ER Shred, where they're no longer scared of food. They're choosing foods, like you said, Ina, that you're choosing to eat this because it makes you awesome. Awesome. And you're choosing not to eat that because when you do, it doesn't give you a good feeling. And if you're okay with dealing with that, go for it. But if you know better, you know what I mean? And to have that power, you're back in the driver's seat. You're empowered. This is the depth of the ER Shred. You know what I mean? I think it's so cool to kind of bring it back, into that bigger thing, to show everybody, what it is they're going for. Man, I feel like this time goes by so fast. We didn't even dive in. I didn't want to get into science. Like, guys, we could blow your mind with research. Like, I could get these guys spitting terms that you guys would be like, I don't even know what they're talking about. But I think this was so beautiful because you guys shared your life. And that's what I love about you guys. You know what I mean? You shared your real experiences, things you've learned from other people. It's not about perfection. It's not like, oh, there's Drs Glenn and Ina. They never go out. They never do this. They never. No, like, you're just average people that over the course of time, never giving up. You've been on this journey, right? And you just keep going. And I hope people can take from that, because you're where you're at now because of all the stuff from before. And people just need to, do their time, right? People got to pay the taxes. They gotta pay the dues. But the other side of it is such beauty for these guys. So, oh man, this has been great. You guys are awesome. You guys are so awesome.
You too.
Thank you.
What else can we say to people? What can you guys share? Ina, 24 years plus, you've been teaching people, coaching people. You've watched the impact of the ER Shred. What can you say to people that we maybe haven't said yet? What last words of wisdom can you share about health or helping somebody push through? And real quick before you do, Stephen, correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Ina, but when you're sick, you should probably wait, right, on your cleanse?
Yeah, I think you got to kind of, sometimes the thought of a cleanse when you're sick, it feels good. Usually it doesn't. Usually we want to just nourish ourselves a little bit more. So usually it's not the best suggestion.
Rest, hydrate.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Get extra sleep. Allow your body to heal itself, which is what the ER Shred will teach you. You're the miracle, not a product, not a shake, not the ER Shred. You are the miracle, but you got to give the body a fighting chance to get to where it's at. Okay, I'm going to shut up. You guys finish.
So I guess I just want to end off with saying that we're not put on this earth to struggle with our weight and with our health. And there's so many people, they spend their life just, fixated, obsessed with that, with getting to this size and losing these pounds so that they can feel better about themselves and do what they want to do. And it's always like, I'm starting Monday, I'm starting. And I saw, really quick, and I actually have a call at 9, but I'm going to be a little late. I saw my mom, my mom died. It was just before her 82nd birthday. And my mom wasn't very overweight, but she struggled with her weight. And she was always like, she would eat, the wrong foods. The effect was not good. And she'd beat herself up and till she was, too sick to eat.
Yeah.
And I just want people to know that if you struggle, that's not what life's about. Make health your priority. This is a brilliant way that we can really use to get healthier so that we can be of service to others and have a bigger impact on others, and not just spend all that energy and time focused on losing pounds and all that. It's just, that's not the point of being here.
And I would just end with, we have so many things impacting our health, whether it's, EMF, from radiation in our phones to, all the pollution and things we're exposed to in our world. The quickest and easiest way to get a dramatic shift in what that does to our body is through what we put in, right? Through our mouth. It's the quickest and easiest way. And here's a program that delivers that, so beautifully. Yeah. And, can really put people on the track much quicker than many other things that they might choose to do first.
For sure. And we now know through new research, speed actually is a good thing. So if somebody says go slow, run the other way. Listen, I know I want to respect your time. We've already gone over. Seriously, love you guys from the bottom of my heart. We are so grateful to have you a part of this community. I know a lot of people tell you this. I am genuinely telling you, you impacted my life 7 years ago, and I've continued to watch you guys, and I'm so happy to actually be in a closer circle with you now, sharing the wealth and the knowledge and learning from you guys and just helping as many people as feasibly possible. So I know from Sean and Crystal and myself and the whole board, like, we are so honored and grateful to have your guys' recommendation and stamp of approval. It really does mean the world. I'm happy it changed your life, and I'm so happy that it's changing so many people around you, their life too. So let's just keep helping the world one person at a time, right?
Absolutely.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
Good time.
Good night, everybody.
Tomorrow, 8 p.m., Shred Your Testimonial. Thursday, opportunity meeting with Mr. Bob Sivright. We love you all. We'll catch you on the flip side. Bye-bye.
Ciao.